Hello, my name is John Raphael. I'm the Director of Educational Services at the National Alliance for Direct Support Professionals, and we are coming to you with a very special word. This week, we have our friends from Canada who both work at VITA, VITA Services. And we have Dave Hingsburger, who is the Director of Clinical and Educational Services at VITA. And we have Roger Ramsukh, who is a behavior therapist at VITA, and also an author and a speaker. And they are going to talk about something, it's very interesting. They haven't really talked about this with each other, even. This is completely, I don't know, but good luck, both of you. Just know that you are enough. And I think that's all I know about this. Oh my goodness. Go for it, guys. Thank you.
I'm going first. So you are funny enough. And yes, you are. If you've worked in this field for any length of time, you have got a really bizarre sense of humor. You can spin shit into silver. I mean, you can take the stories that you have and you can make other people laugh with them, and you can enjoy it. And that sense of humor is something that saves you.
Nicely done, yeah. You are smart enough to figure out that what the people you're trying to support are telling you when they act out. You're smart enough to know that all behavior is trying to communicate something, and that you just might be the perfect person to figure it all out.
You are strong enough. It takes tremendous strength, outrageous strength, strength filled of purpose and insight to be able to lift somebody's spirit. Forget dumbbells, forget free weights. There's nothing compared to the strength that it takes to pick somebody up in their hour of need.
Oh yeah, love that one. Good one, Dave. I really like that one. The picking up in the hour of need. Beauty. I wish I'd taken that one, actually. You are inspiring enough to create a plan for someone to imagine a life beyond the four walls that they live within. You're inspiring enough to help a person see beyond the life to greater independence and fun. You are inspiring enough that the people you support look at you with longing to be who you are, and even you inspire them to want to help others the way you have helped them.
I like that. I'm going to say something like that similar soon, but right now, dedicated enough to get up in the morning, to haul butt in the morning, to come in for the early shift, to stay up late at night, to do the work that you do, to be able to find rewards in things that no one understands. No one understands. You go home and you talk about the success of somebody, that they've tied their shoes or something like that, and nobody gets it. But you're dedicated enough. This is grit, and in its own way, it's power.
Yeah. How many of you feel like you work on Pluto? Because you go home and tell your spouse something happened at work, and they have no clue. They have no frame of reference for what you talk about. I love that.
And they roll their eyes, Roger. They do. They roll their eyes.
You're like, what? This is my life. This is what I do. Caring. You are caring enough to hold a person's hand when they are hurting, caring enough to say words of comfort, or to soothe, or to start to heal, or to just sit in silence when they're sad or depressed and words are just inadequate.
And you are bold enough, and yes, I'm going to do it, to go boldly where no one has gone before. I had to do it. But you're going into the dreams of a disenfranchised people. Often people with disabilities have to learn how to dream. And what an amazing job that is, to teach people how to dream, to teach people to untether themselves from really low expectations and rise high.
Mm-hmm. Dave, actually, one of his catchphrases is the tyranny of low expectations.
That's right.
And Dave talks about this all the time, right? Saving people from, they don't have to try very much because nobody really expects too much of them. So
yeah. And I'm sure that there are people here who are listening who had that experience personally. This isn't something that just happens to people with disabilities.
Yes. Yeah. Hopeful enough. You're hopeful enough that the person on the next shift will show up on time. Okay.
You're sitting in hope at the door.
It's 11 o'clock at night. Please be on time. I have kids to put to bed. Or it's the overnight. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and you have to get to work. You have to get home in time to get your kids to school. Oh, I was going to say something else about hopeful, but I'm going to leave it at that because I just love that's too funny for me.
It is indeed. And you're earnest enough. And you're earnest enough because you know deep down, you know what it feels like to not be taken seriously. You know what it feels like to have your voice not matter. So that's why you get so passionate about the work that you do, because you've done it all your life.
Yeah, yeah. You are compassionate enough to remember that the people you support need you in times when they are the most unlikable, the least in control, and the most vulnerable.
And you're powerful enough. There are barriers everywhere for the people that you serve. Some of them you go around, and some of them you just power through. When you see something wrong, something that excludes people with disabilities, you will discover that you have muscles that you never knew that you had. And look out.
Nice, nice. You are determined enough to see a new plan through to the end because you really, really want to help this person you support through a difficult time, and nothing that was being done up until this point was working.
And you are concerned enough to ask the right people the right question. You know the person you serve well, and you've bothered to learn how they communicate, and it concerns you, really concerns you, that they are served well.
Nice. You are understanding enough to look past the hurtful words a person in your care may say to you in a moment of pain, and look for the message behind the message and the opportunity within that moment, and take a moment of teaching. Dave says this all the time. As BTs, your job is to teach a skill where a skill is lacking, right? And so have that opportunity in that moment to say, I know you're angry. It is okay to be angry, but here's a better way to tell me rather than cursing at me or trying to get a reaction out of me.
Yeah, and that's really hard to do in the moment, isn't it, Roger? You know, when somebody says something that hurts you. You know, I know that we're supposed to be professionals, but we're people too. You know, we have skin that gets hurt. You know, and we have hearts that gets bruised. You know, and I think that's sometimes just forgotten. And you're clever enough to figure a way around things. You know, we worked with somebody with a disability, and they really liked playing with toys, and with the age appropriateness and people saying that that was inappropriate and all sorts of things. So we ended up writing down all together as a group that they enjoyed playing with brightly colored objects made for manual manipulation. And that is another word for toy, but it got approved. It got approved because we figured a way around a system that sometimes doesn't seem to care.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is one of my favorites. You are believing enough in your own God-given abilities to be right where you are and doing what you are doing right now because you are the best person for the person you're supporting in this moment. You are believing enough that your purpose is much grander than doing laundry and hygiene care and administering meds. You're believing enough in your own purpose to be who that person needs you to be in this life, in your own ability to find the qualities within your being that will bring out the best in others as well as yourself. And you're believing enough that you are greater than the trials you're facing this moment, even with your own family at home, and that you will rise above pettiness, rudeness, disappointment, deceitfulness, hypocrisy, sneakiness, insincerity, and broken promises to find the inherent divinity, sincerity, trustworthiness, and fulfillment in doing a job well that many cannot or will not do.
Roger, I have to tell you, in the middle of that, I wanted to shout, "Amen, brother, preach," you know, because I agreed with every single word, and that was awesome. Okay, you are courageous enough to calmly walk into a room where somebody is erupting in pain and anger and bring your calm with you. Courageous enough to speak quietly to those people who are not quiet, to act gently when somebody is not being gently, and to bring compassion to somebody who is not being kind. You know, to bring those qualities into a room like that it takes amazing courage, and people do it every day, and they do it really well.
Yeah, yeah. And the ability to de-escalate, I talk about this all the time, the ability to verbally de-escalate a lot of times comes from your own inherent ability to believe in your own self and to have that strength within yourself. And when you have that calm, you can project calm. So as soon as you said that, I was right back on the floor in a few years ago, and I was right there with you. Yeah.
You know, I was once in a group home doing a visit, and in an area of the house that I could not see, a woman with a disability was having a real meltdown, and she used the worst kind of hateful, bigoted, racist language against the staff. And this guy, I could hear him. His voice was calm. His voice was soothing. He talked her down. He was incredibly gentle in his approach, and it was amazing. It was just amazing to see that level of skill. And it needs to be acknowledged, you know, that people carry that skill. So people are also creative enough to figure out how to make dreams happen. You plot and you plan and you look at every eventuality and you strategize in order for people to do the wildest things. Yeah. I have known direct support staff help people with disabilities jump out of a plane or get onto a plane to go to Vancouver to dive into a pool. If a person has a dream, you'll figure it. You'll just figure it out.
Yeah. You are energetic enough to do a double shift because someone called in sick at the last minute. Go home and pack lunches for your kids, take a shower, and go to bed for far too short a time, and go back the next morning early and do it all again.
Oh, it's amazing. And you're accomplished enough. You may not feel that you are. You may feel that somehow you're lacking in some way, but you have accomplishments. And the kinds of accomplishments that you have are often not even acknowledged. So you need to take a step back and look where somebody is now and where they were then, and understand that their growth and their development, that's your accomplishment.
Absolutely. And I think we don't even recognize the skills that people bring to this table. I mean, let's face it, a lot of direct support professionals, they're from other countries. English is not their first language. And they're coming in and they're doing a job well. And they bring a whole host of skills that are not even acknowledged sometimes in the organization, because we hired you to do this job. And the fact that you're an accountant, or the fact that you're a doctor, or whatever you may be, all of those things come into play in who you are when you're doing your job. And sometimes you forget that. You are good enough and accomplished enough in so many areas of your life. This is just another one of them.
Yeah, it is indeed. I think
the
the last one.
Last one for me. You are resilient enough to deal with all the COVID-19 protocols your organization has instituted, all the screenings you have to do every time you enter a building, all the entertaining you have to do because your day programs are still on hold, and all the Zoom calls you have to do to arrange between members, and still go to work with a smile on your face.
Yeah, and you still got a forehead, even though your temperature has been taken 1,000 times. I kind of getting worried about that. Is it going to do something up here? So our essential message is, say it, Roger.
Yeah, you are
enough.
Enough.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.